What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. Today we're going to be flying the PMDG 737 from Fort Lauderdale, Florida to Atlanta. The reason that this flight's going to be interesting is because we will be flying out of a tropical storm. Here is the weather radar, and we are flying out right around down here. So we're going to be right on the outside of these, well, not right outside, but kind of in the middle of these outside bands of this tropical storm. So I've never flown out of a tropical storm. We're also going to be flying into a little bit of weather. It looks like there's some weather going on up in Georgia as well. I think Atlanta is up a little bit more, somewhere over here. But yeah, so we're going to definitely be experiencing some interesting weather. I haven't done anything in the plane except for jump into the game, and let's go ahead and jump inside the plane here. Sound effects are great. The rain looks really cool on the windows and everything. You can even see it on the ground out there, which looks really good. But I haven't done anything, so let's start with our pre-flight checklist. Also today I'm going to be flying a real flight plan. It is Delta Airlines 2391, so if you want to look up and see the flight that I flew, that is the flight that I flew. So first we'll make sure our parking brake is set. We'll go to the overhead panel and we will get our battery switch turned to on. Battery switch on. We'll get our dome light set to medium. We don't need it fully on. Battery switch on. Electric hydraulic pumps can come on. Ground power we will connect to. And we're now on the ground power. Our landing gear levers down. Our APU and fire warning test we will conduct. The lights are working. Everything seems to be working there. We'll go ahead and back over the top here. Position lights we already have on. Our wing lights we can go ahead and get on. We'll go ahead and get our logo light on as well. Engine bleed switches can come on. They are already on. IRSs, we'll get those set to nav. You think I'd memorize this by now, but I haven't memorized it yet. Yaw damper will go on, which will turn back off. We'll get that on once the engine's on. Emergency exit lights can come on, and seatbelts and no smoking signs can come on. Flap lever is up, speed brake lever's down, galley switch is on, window heats can come on, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And our probe heats can stay off. All right, we're ready to start programming our flight plan. So we'll go ahead and jump down here. We'll go to FS actions and we'll go to payload. Our zero fuel weight today is going to be 113.3. 13.3. We'll go ahead and put that in there. We'll go return and we'll go to fuel. Our block fuel today is 18,165. 18,165. We'll put that in there, and that is our fuel. So we'll go ahead and go to return menu. We'll go to FMC and we'll go to position in it. So we're starting out at KFLL, and we'll go ahead and go to the second page. We'll pull this, come back here, drop it in there, and we are ready to input our route. So KFLL, oh, we already have it in there, to KATL. Our flight number today is DAL 2391. DAL 2391. We'll drop that in there. And this is our flight plan. So we are going to be flying a departure off of 10 left. So we have a little bit of information we're going to have to put in, and we will be flying an arrival as well. So we'll get this started. We will go to next. And our first waypoint is going to be SMELZ, smells. SMELZ. We'll drop that in there. Then we're going to go on to Quebec 110. Quebec 110. We'll put that in there. And AMORY. AMORY. And then Jokey, JOKKY. And that's also going to be Quebec 110. Quebec 110. I thought I could just copy that, but I can't. And then we are going Dawn, DAWWN. That's also going to be Quebec 110. And then direct to Bjorn, BEORN. BEORN. We'll drop that in there. And then we will do our arrival and departures. So let's head over to departure. First off, departure is going to be, come on, there we go. Runway 10 left. And it is going to be the HROC 1. HROC 1 and the smells transition. I don't know why that's funny to me, but it is. All right, and we'll go to arrival. Our arrival is going to be 26 right. ILS 26 right. The Hobbit 2. Hobbit 2. And the Bjorn transition. And that's it. All right, so we'll head back over to route. We should be able to hit activate and execute. And we'll go over to our legs page. We'll jump out here and we'll test our flight or step through our flight to make sure everything looks right. And then we will vector ourselves over to there. How do I step this back? Oh, vectors. Okay. So we will go ahead and just get rid of our vector and just fly it like that, since we're not flying with ATC yet. All right. Flight plan looks fine. We don't have to worry about that. We'll set this back to map mode. We'll leave it at 40. And let's get going with some more information here. So well, first off, our cruise altitude, or we have to do our init ref. Our cruise altitude is going to be 320. We'll go ahead and put that up there. Let me figure out what our cruise winds are going to be. All right, let's see. 320, 221 at 29. So 221 at 29. We'll drop that in there. Our zero fuel weight again was 113.3. 113.3. We'll drop that in there. And our reserves were 2. Our cost index 3.5. What did I just do? 3.5. Oh, I hit index. It's like, oh shit, what did I do? All right, plan fuel. And we'll execute that. We'll go M1 limit. We're going to do takeoff configuration 1. We'll go to takeoff. We'll go to the second page. And let's get our MEDAR for here. So our MEDAR looks like our winds are 160 at 10 knots. 160 at 10. There we go. And we'll go back. Our flaps, we're going to do flaps 5. That'll generate our trim for us, which is 5.5. And our V speeds. So 135 is our departure speed. 2982 is going to be our altimeter. So we'll get that set. 2982. We'll jump back down here. 5.5 on our trim, takeoff trim. So we'll get that set. There we go. That's about 5.5. Let's take care of up here. We are going up to 32,000. So we will set our altitude to 32,000. Let's find out our landing altitude for runway 26 right. So I'll bring this over here. Approach and 26 right. Looks like our airport elevation is going to be 1026. So we can set this to 1000. And then we have our localizers 110.1. Our final approach course is 275. And our ILS is 1190. So let's get all this information put in. First, we'll do our approach course, which is going to be 275 degrees. There we go. We'll do it on both of them here. All right. We will jump down to the bottom here, and our localizer is 110.1. So we'll go 110.1. Switch that over. 110.1. And we'll switch that over as well. Let's get our panel lights up a little bit here. I tell you what, man, the rain sounds really good in this game. I haven't done a lot of rainy flights, so it's really, really nice to hear the rain in this. It's kind of relaxing. All right, our ILS is 1190, so we need to set that, which is this guy. 1190 is what we're looking for. I am holding shifts, which seems to make it a little bit faster, but not too much faster. One and 90. So our altimeter is set. Our barometer for landing is set. Our 135. We could set this. Our approach course is set. Our altitude, we're going up to 32,000. Now, in case anybody was wondering, well, let me look at this departure real fast. From 10 left. Yeah, show it to me. Why can't I see it? Okay. Departures, yeah. I don't want to change it. I want to overlay it. I don't know why that's not overlaying our departure. Interesting. All right, well, that's okay. So normally we would set our altitude to what the departure tells us to set it to, but we're not flying with ATC, so we don't have to worry about that today. We're just going to go up right up to 32,000. I think I did everything I needed to do so far. It's very weird that that's not popping up my chart to show me the overlay here. All right, well, that's okay. Anyway, I think we set everything we needed to set. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but we will find out. We'll go to our before start checklist, which is make sure the FMC is programmed, which is what we just did. Next thing we need to do is get, where are my lights for up here? That's what I want to know. Is it it's not the floodlights, right? Oh, it's the main panel. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so we'll get our flight directors turned on, both of them, on both sides. Our auto throttle switch can stay off for now. Our Mach indicator is set. Our heading selector we will set on the runway, since I can't pull up that chart right now. Autopilot is disengaged. Thrust levers are idle. Stabilizer trim is set. Auto brakes can be set to RTO. Where are we at? Auto brakes, RTO, and APU. We can get that started. We'll go to the overhead panel and we will get our APU fired up and going. Our APU bleed switch can come on, and we will wait to get onto our APU generators. In the meantime, we're going to jump down here and we're going to test. We'll set this to standard and we'll test it. You'll see a whole bunch of stuff popping up here. We'll wait for it to tell us that it's good.
TCAS test pass.
TCAS is good. As soon as we get our APU going, we'll take off these the ground power and the ground chocks, or the wheel chocks, and we're getting ready for pushback already, so that's good. It's going to be very interesting flying out of here in this kind of weather. I've never flown out of or into a tropical storm, so this should make for an interesting flight. I'm very curious to see what it's going to look like up above all this stuff. All right, APU is on. Our generator switches can come on. So we are now on our APU generator. Our transponder is set. So we can go ahead and jump down here. We can go to menu, FS actions, ground services. We can release the ground power. We can remove the wheel chocks. And our door is closing and everything looks like it's doing what it's supposed to. So with that, we'll do our before pushback checks. We'll go ahead and jump over top here. First thing is fuel pumps need to come on. Well, I don't think we're using that much fuel. We're using a little bit of fuel in our center tank. So we'll go ahead and turn all of them on, but I have to remember to turn them off once that's used up. All right, so all our tanks are coming on. APU generator switches are on. We are on our APU already. Seatbelt signs are confirmed. Flight deck doors and windows are locked. Ground equipment is disconnected and anti-collision lights are now on. All right, that is everything we need to start our pushback. So what I need to do is figure out where runway 10 left is in respect to where we are. So we are right here. 10 right, 10 left. Okay, so we're gonna back out and jump on Bravo taxiway all the way down to, I guess, Bravo 2. Yeah, we'll line up on Bravo 2. All right, let me move that over there. So we are just about ready for our pushback. All right, master caution. That's okay. We'll leave that be now. We'll go to the overhead panel here. I think, will this stay on now? Or do we have to wait for the engines to be started? Yeah, so it looks like that'll stay on now. All right, great. We're going to use our left engines today, our left ignition. We'll go ahead and go Shift P and call for our tug. Go ahead and release our brakes. And as soon as we start pushing back, we will get our engine going. There we are. We'll get our left engine going. We're looking for 18 on our N2. Right here. And we'll feed it some fuel. There we are. We'll let that engine come up. It's going to be very interesting flying out of a tropical storm. That's definitely going to be a first for me. But that engine's almost up, and we'll stop our taxi here in just, or not our taxi, our pushback here in just a second. Look to the left. There goes our engine. Go ahead and get our second engine going. And we'll go ahead and stop our pushback here. Shift P. We'll put our brake on. Give our engine some fuel. Engine 2 is starting up. Yeah, they just put out a an update on this plane, and I can definitely hear it. Some of the update they did was the sounds. And I'm definitely hearing a sound difference in that engine startup. Sounds great. All right, jump back in the cockpit here. We're waiting for that switch to switch off. There it goes. Our after start checks. We'll jump up here. We have to go on our engine generators. We'll go on 1 and 2. We are now off of our APU. Our bleed switch can go to off. Our isolation valve can go to open. Our packs can go to auto. And our APU can go off. Our probe heat switches 1 and 2 can come on. Our master caution recall. Doesn't look like we have any issues there. On both sides are clear. Engine wing anti-ice as required. We don't need isolation valve switch, pack switches. We did taxi clearance and transponder mode C, which is TARA. Go ahead and set that there. Our before taxi checklist. Taxi lights 1, 2, and 3 can come on. Runway turnoff lights. Autopilot. What am I doing? Taxi lights on. Runway turnoff lights on. And our flaps. We'll go ahead and get our flaps set to 5. 1, 2, 3. And our flight controls are free and clear. Looks like we are set to go. We're good for taxi. So we are going to turn ourselves to the left here as best as we can. We'll go ahead and release our brakes. Give it a little bit of throttle. We'll give it left rudder as much as we can to get this thing turned. And there we are. We'll follow this ahead here. and we'll taxi our way down to the runway. So this is saying that I can just cross right here onto, I guess, onto Bravo, which is not showing on the chart that that's possible, but all right, we'll do it. So this should be our Bravo taxiway, which should take us all the way down to our runway. I'll know in just a minute once we straighten out here. There we are. All right, yep, we're on taxiway Bravo. We'll jump into the overhead panel here. I think we still have this light on, so we'll go ahead and click that off. We don't need that anymore. And we'll give ourselves a little bit of speed. We'll get ourselves down to the end of this runway here. Come on, speed up. There we go. If you guys are enjoying this, be sure to leave a like. If there's somewhere you want me to fly, let me know. And I'll try and make that happen. I thought this would be a little bit of more interesting of a flight than the ones we've done because of the tropical storm that's going through the area right now. This is the Fort Lauderdale International Airport, so I don't know. It's going to be really cool flying out of this, I think. And I think the tops of these clouds, once we're up above them, is going to look really cool as well. And flying into Atlanta, we also have some stormy weather going on. I'm not sure that I'm going to do a Cat 3 ILS approach. I think I might bring it down and hand fly it once we get like 500 feet off the ground or something. Or just before minimums. I've been doing a lot of attempts at auto landing. But they did tweak a lot of stuff in this, so maybe the auto land would actually work really well today. I don't know. We're passing Quebec there. We're coming up on Bravo 6, 5, and then we are getting on at Bravo 2. I'll go ahead and pull the chart over here so you can see it. So we left over here. We're pushing up here, and we're going to get on right here at Bravo 2. Then we will do our before takeoff checks. There's a wing view. I do have the Fort Lauderdale scenery, so it should look really, really accurate and much better than the default airport scenery. Just keep on heading down. Let's center ourselves back up on this line a little bit. Falling short left a little. There we are. We're almost where we need to be. We'll hold short of the runway and we'll do our before takeoff checks, and then we'll line up and we'll get out of here. Should be a good flight. I don't know at what point weather-wise that they would ground planes. I'm not sure if this tropical storm is enough for them to ground planes or how that protocol goes. But luckily we're in a simulator, so we're just gonna fly right through it and try and get above it as quick as we can. I don't think there's gonna be much to see out the window once we depart. I'll try and give you a little bit of a window view, but I really wouldn't expect too much. All right, here's Bravo 3 we're passing now, and we want to get on at the next turn. At Bravo 2. All right, so we're going to make this right here. And we're going to hold short there and do our before takeoff checks, which are very, very short and simple. Give ourselves a little bit of break here. Whoop. My pedals, sometimes when you have to make these hard turns, my pedals start sliding. and I can't quite get that rudder pedal kicked enough. It starts sliding across the ground in front of me. All right, here we are, runway 10 left. And we'll go ahead and put our brakes in and hold short here. All right, our before takeoff, auto throttle needs to be armed. Engine start switches need to be set to continuous. So continue and continue. Master caution recall. We don't have any warnings on our caution. We're good. Transponder TARA, we did. Landing lights and strobe lights. Strobe lights are on, landing lights can come on. So we will go ahead and release our brake, and we'll get ourselves lined up on the runway here. All right, and there we are lined up on the runway. We'll go ahead and stop here for just a second. Adjust my pedals here because I don't know what this departure is going to be like. All right, we are ready for takeoff. We'll go ahead and hit our toga button. We'll keep the nose down until we hear our rotate speed call out. There's the engine spooling up. Kicking in some left rudder now just to hold it to the left, or hold it center. 80 knots, cross checked.
E1. Rotate.
Rotating. Left rudder, kicking hard left rudder right now. All right, you're up. Oh no, I'm not. I can't listen to you. Thank you. Turn you off. All right, we need to nose down here. And we need to get our airspeed up. Already coming into the clouds here. And our flaps can come up to 1. And we'll continue climbing, and our flaps can come all the way in. We'll go ahead and go VNAV, LNAV, and we'll hit our autopilot. Flaps are already in, our gear is up. We'll set this down to off. Don't think you're gonna see anything out the window. Nope, not much to see at all. Jump into the left side. Not too much to see. All right, after takeoff, landing gear is up, flaps are up, taxi light switches can come off. Autopilot is set, and auto brakes can be set to off. Fuel, so we'll go ahead and toggle this guy off. There we go. We used up our middle fuel tanks. Man, our engines are roaring. They definitely changed the sound effects in this, and it sounds absolutely great. There's a wing view. You can see a little bit of the ground, I think, unless that's just reflection on the glass window. I'm actually not too sure. But not a whole lot to see. Yeah, it looks like it's just reflection. Continuing to climb up through 5,000 right now. We're heading up to 32,000. We got about an hour and 32 minutes in air time. Once we cross our 10,000 mark, I'll do our climb checks, which are pretty simple. But yeah, that departure was, I definitely had to kick in a lot of left rudder. I felt the wind pushing us. Especially once we got off of the ground, it was pushing me really hard to the right. I definitely had to kick in some left rudder there. Still nothing really to see out the window, which I don't think we're going to have much to see out the window until we're up above these clouds. We're crossing through 7,500 now. There's some rain again coming through. I don't think we need any de-ice because our temperatures are fine. Coming up on 9,000. It's getting brighter. Maybe we're getting towards the top of the clouds soon here. So we're about to cross our 10,000. We'll go ahead and toggle our landing lights off, our climb checks, landing lights off. Engines can be set to off instead of continuous. And anti-ice and wing, or engine and wing anti-ice as required. We don't need that right now. That's actually for our cruise, not for our climb checks. Climbing through 10,000 here, 11,000. We'll see when we break out of these clouds. I don't know why that's blinking A. Oh, it turned off VNav. Why did we go off of VNav? There we go. All right, still climbing out of here. And as soon as we break out of these clouds, I'm going to go ahead and jump into a time lapse out the window. Let's take a look at where we are on our departure. So we made our U-turn, basically. We took off and made our U-turn. We're flying over Pompano Beach now. Still no blue skies in sight. But that's all right. Maybe it'll look better on a time lapse if I jump into the wing view and let the time lapse reveal the sky. But I'm going to stay with you until we're at about 18,000. There we are. There's a breakout. Wow, look at that. Nice little pocket of clouds there. I'll stay with you until we're at about 18,000, and then I will jump into the time lapse. And we'll do a left wing view for the time lapse today. Man, look at that. That looks crazy. We flew right out of that tropical storm. That's actually really cool. I really enjoyed that departure. It wasn't as bad or as bumpy as I was expecting. Like I said, just as soon as we were off the runway, I felt some wind kicking me around a little bit. But other than that, pretty smooth flight out of there. Especially for a tropical storm. I think it went pretty well for, you know, considering the circumstances there. Everything looks really cool. Still going through some of these clouds. We're climbing through 16,500. Let's take a look here, see if we can get an eye on our top of descent, which I don't think we'll be able to see. It is way in there. Yeah, I can't read that. It's all right. We'll set this to about 80. Looks like everything here is fine. We're about to cross that 18,000 mark here in a minute, so we'll go ahead and go into standard mode. There we are, getting a little bit of rain here. I believe the wiper's right here. In case anybody was wondering where that was. But yeah, we're gonna jump in a wing view, and I will leave it in a wing view for the rest of the, you know, for a time lapse. And I'll jump back in with you once we're closer to our descent. Hope you guys enjoy the flight. right, welcome back, everybody. The flight seemed to have gone pretty well. We had a little bit of turbulence. I saw once or twice we got, jarred around a little bit up there. But we leveled out and maintained a pretty steady flight most of it. It was nice getting out of the storm clouds. For a while we were kind of cruising in the upper layer of clouds, so it was a little bit hard to see anything below it, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that time lapse. Like I said, we are climbing through 24,000 now on our descent, so we have begun our descent. Once we get to about 18,000, I will throw in our altimeter and do our descent checks. We'll do our approach checks somewhere around 10,000 and 5,000. But for now, we're just descending down. Looks like we are going to be descending into some weather. We'll see what kind of approach we do once we get a little bit closer. Right now, we got about a 17 knot crosswind left to right. And we're coming down on these clouds here. I wanted to see if we could get into a right wing view. So there's the clouds there. We'll jump in a rear wing view. There you go. So you can see those clouds are definitely, I forget. I'm trying to remember what they're called. I think they're called cumulonimbus clouds. I could be wrong though, but very puffy and stormy like. So I'm curious to see what we have going on once we get underneath of it. But we are on our approach. We're crossing 20,000 now. We're coming up on the 18,000. We are cleared below it, so we'll go ahead and set our altimeter now, which is 2985. So 2985. Go ahead and set that. We'll make sure we stay on our descent profile. We'll start our descent checklist. Our landing lights, we can go ahead and turn them on now. Seatbelt signs are on. Air conditioning and pressures are checked and good. Engine and wing anti-ice, we don't need. Transition altitude, we just did. ATIS we've obtained. Engine start switches can be set to continuous 1 and 2, and FMC we need to set for arrival. So we'll go here and we will go flaps 30, and we'll put that there. So 131 plus 5, so we're landing at 136 is going to be our landing speed. We'll do a master caution recall there. Looks like everything's fine. Definitely going to be flying into some stormy clouds. It's saying it's 330 knots on the ground, 10-mile visibility, few at 4,000, scattered at it looks like scattered at 20,000, broken at 25,000, and that's what the ATIS is saying. So we'll definitely be having some clouds. We'll probably be in the soup for a little while on our descent. We'll just follow everything, keep an eye on everything, make sure that we're maintaining this profile here and over here. This is where we are. We're going to come up here, make a left, right. We're going to fly past the runway, downwind, turn base, and then go on to our final. So that is our flight plan so far. Everything seems to be doing good. I want to take a look at our legs here and see if our speeds and everything do look like they are programmed. 2700 is going to be our ILS intercept speed. Everything looks pretty good. So really we're just gonna descend here down into these clouds and see what we see. But it was a very good flight, very enjoyable flight. First time I ever flew out of a tropical storm. I don't know if you'll see it in the time lapse, but at one point I did grab a screenshot, which will probably be the thumbnail for this video. But yeah, flying into Atlanta. I do have the livery for Atlanta as well. So we went from Fort Lauderdale, which I had the scenery for, I should say, not livery. And Atlanta I also have the scenery for. So we're coming down through 15,000 now. So we descended pretty quickly, I would say. We need to be at 12,000 by our next waypoint, as you can see in the purple down there. And we're about 6 miles out from our next waypoint, so we'll almost make that, I guess. Or at least be pretty close to it. 14,000, so we got to drop 2 more thousand, who says that? 2,000 more. Great time of day to do a flight too. It's like, I am flying live time today, and obviously live weather, but more importantly live time, which I don't normally do because I usually record my videos late at night. 1,000 more to go until we're at that 12,000. We got about 2.5 nautical miles left to that waypoint, so it looks like we are going to make our altitude constraint there. Left turn, starting to see the ground a little bit more. No airport yet. The airport's going to be over that way somewhere. But yeah, this plane is a pretty fun plane to fly. I've been pondering the idea of getting the Phoenix A320. I do have the fly-by-wire A320, which I heard is pretty darn comparable. I actually heard that now I don't know if this is true, so don't quote me if you're looking at buying one or the other, but the fly-by-wire actually has a better performance than the Phoenix. I'm not sure how true that is, but I watched a comparison video, and that was one of the things they mentioned. I was kind of shocked about that. Coming down 11,000. We do our approach checklist, so our landing lights are already on. Our auto brakes we can set to 2. Our decision height is already set. Master caution recall. Both sides are clear. We are good on that. Missed approach altitude. We're not gonna do that right now. I think I'm not sure when we would put that in actually. I guess now, but where in the FMC or on the altitude here, because we're climbing down to 2,700. Speed brakes, we're not going to arm them yet. Flaps, landing gear, and taxi light switches are going to be the next things we have to do, which we're not going to do until we turn on to final from base. So we just have to do speed brakes, flaps, landing gear, and taxi lights. It's interesting the way they do the approaches here, or at least on this approach, because we come up on the airport here, and the airport is right here. So we come up, we fly around it, then we turn and we get lined up, which is interesting. The other day I did a flight on VATSIM where we flew up from here, and then we came up this way, flew around and lined up this way. So I guess it's all dependent on which runways they're using for the departure and arrival. ADIS was telling me that the runway that we're landing on, which is 26 right, is the one that they're using for departures and arrivals. Clouds actually don't look too bad. They looked a lot worse when we were up a little bit higher. These don't look too bad at all. I don't think they look bad off to our left either. They looked way worse when we were above them looking out the window. The plane is now slowing down to its speed constraint of 250, I believe it's going to go down to. No, it's going to go down to 240. Runway is just off to our right here. If I go over to the other seat, I thought maybe we'd be able to see it. I don't see it though. It's somewhere over that way. I forgot you can go up and down on this. I should make a time lapse up here. That would be pretty cool. Can I get up higher? There we go. Oh, but I can't move closer to the window. Oh yeah, like right there. That'd be a pretty cool time lapse if I did that. Maybe I'll try that in one of my other flights, one of my upcoming videos or something. I'm coming up on a right turn, which is going to be our downwind. There's some of that cloud we were looking at earlier. Fly right through it. Yeah, these clouds look great. such a good job on the weather system in this game. I'm gonna fly right through that little pocket in front of us. We just crossed below our 10,000 mark. We can go ahead and zoom this guy in a little bit. There we go. So you can see we're going to make our right turn here in about 2.5 nautical miles. Look at that. I think I can see downtown Atlanta right there. Whoop, wrong button. I think it's right there. There's the airport up there. Whoop, right where that little play button was, is right there. So we do have the airport in sight. Off to our right, just above the wing there. And there is our downwind. So we're going to continue down here, and then I believe, do we have to vector? Nope, we set it so we don't have to vector. So it'll turn for us. Then we'll get locked onto the ILS or the localizer. And the weather doesn't seem too bad. I think I might hand fly this one down. I don't think I've done many hand landings. I don't know how you would say it. Manual landings. I've always done the ILS. Yeah, there's downtown Atlanta. So welcome to Atlanta. There's the airport just underneath of our wing right there. And we'll be basically just making a U-turn and coming in on 26 right. Let's take a look at 26 right and see where that's going to be. So let's take a look at our airport chart. So 26 right. So we're going to be coming in on this outer runway. And all the terminals are going to be on our left. Actually, I could probably leave that up. There we are. We'll just leave that like that and put it over here. All right, there's the airport. We're going to be landing on this outer runway over here. Looks like most of the bad weather has pretty much passed that I saw on the radar before we started flying. Obviously, you can see some pretty interesting cloud formations out here, but the storms and the rain seems to have passed. But flying out of that tropical storm was crazy. That was fun though. One of these days I'll do the opposite and I'll fly into the storm and try and land there. Maybe I'll make another video doing that. We'll see. I had another flight scheduled that I was going to do, and then I saw the tropical storm out there. I was like, ah, that'll be a little interesting. Let's do that instead. So I have one flight that we still need to do, and if we're going to do the landing in the tropical storm, then I have 2 flights already lined up for us. Excuse me. We're following our descent rate pretty well so far. Everything is already set and programmed, so we are good to go. All we need to do is get locked onto the ILS and glide slope after we make our right turn and take her right down to the ground. We got a 5-knot tailwind. So winds seem to be fairly calm. pretty relaxing descent. Starting to get some ground details down there. It's coming in a lot better than it was. Not too much more to go, and we'll start that right turn. Get locked onto that ILS. We'll see how far down we'll take it. We'll probably take it down just before minimums, and then hand fly it. We're at 6,000 feet, 240 knots. Our landing speed is going to be 136, I think it was. Looks like a mall or something down there. And there's a quarry maybe. So that looks like a mall. That looks like a quarry. All right, in about 2 nautical miles, we're going to make our right turn. And there we go. There's our right turn. We're still at 240. I'm going to go ahead and speed intervene and start getting our speeds down. Let's get down to about 210 if we can. Man, it just looks and feels so real. Our speeds are down. Let's get our speeds down to our flap speeds if we can. We'll put it just under at 195. We'll go ahead and introduce a notch of flaps here. Put our speeds down to 180. We should be able to toggle on our localizer here soon. So what do we need? Our speed brake, we can go ahead and arm that now. So speed brake is armed. Flaps we're working on, landing gear and taxi light switches. We'll get our taxi light switches on, 1, 2, and 3. Taxi lights and runway turn-off lights. We have 1 notch of flaps. We're monitoring our speed. We're looking to get locked on to the ILS here soon. We'll hold our speeds here for now. A beautiful day to land here. The runways are going to be slightly off to our right. Looks like right there we can see them. We're going to be making a right turn on our next waypoint in about 5 nautical miles. At which point we'll be able to get our localizer set. We'll drop our gear and get our flaps fully set. You can see our diamonds coming in. So this one's coming closer to center. And this is our glide slope. Bring our speeds down a little bit more. Go ahead and get our VOR localizer turned on. Bring in some more flaps. There we are. And there we are, capturing the localizer. Now that we're on that, we'll go ahead and toggle our approach, get locked onto that as well as soon as we can. We'll go ahead and bring our speeds down a little bit more. Bring it down to 155. And we'll go ahead and give ourselves some more flaps. Go ahead and get our gear dropped. See Atlanta off to the right there, just out in the hazy distance. And flaps are fully configured. We are fully configured for landing aside from speed. We'll maintain the speed that we're at now. We'll slow it down a little bit more once we get just a little bit closer. And we are ready for landing. Welcome to Atlanta. I want to keep our speeds, that way we don't fall off the glide slope too quickly or too easily. We're only about 10 miles ahead of what our speed should be. Once we get over this industrial area, we'll go ahead and drop our speeds down. There's Atlanta just off the wing there, downtown. There's our outer marker. All right, we'll go ahead and get our speeds down. 136. We'll get this turned around to 275. There we are. All right. We got the PAPI lights in sight. Got the airport in sight. We're fully configured for landing. Our speeds are starting to come down. We'll bring it down just a little bit more. There we are. We have about a 10-mile crosswind.
1,000.
All right. There's our 1,000 feet. All right, we're gonna try and hand fly this in a minute. So if you guys don't see this video, it's because I completely butchered it. But if you guys do see it, then I landed. Well enough to post it at least. But we do have a 10-knot crosswind. It's making the plane a little bit wobbly. We're gonna go ahead and toggle off our autopilot. We are now hand flying it. I'm gonna just try and maintain that descent rate. Keep the PAPI lights where they're supposed to be. I think we might be drifting a little bit. Bring it to the right a little. Continuing, by the way.
100.
Give a little bit of left rudder.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Little flare. And we are down. Let's get her on the center line. There we are. We got a reverse thrust fully engaged. And there we are. We'll be able to get off right here. Not too bad. Not too bad for a hand landing. I need to get better at them, but that went fairly smooth. I don't like how the plane always pulls to one direction or the other every time I land. I don't know if that's something I'm doing or if that's normal or what, but we'll go ahead and hold short here. All right, we'll do our after landing checks. So our landing lights can come off. We'll go up here. Landing lights can come off, 1 and 2. Our strobe lights off, our taxi lights on, our flaps can come all the way up. I have that set to a button. Our speed brake lever can be set back down. Our transponder can go to standby. Engine switch, start switches can go to off. Engine wing anti-ice we didn't use. Stabilizer trim we didn't use. And our APU can come on, which means we can open our isolation valve and get our APU bleed on as well. We'll go ahead and jump back in here. Let's take a look at where we're going. To the left here, it looks like. So we're going to cross right here. Bravo 6 to Echo 5 to Foxtrot 5, I guess. That's what I'm going to try and do. I don't know if that's the first turn. Let me see. No, that first turn is a U-turn, so it's the second one. Okay. All right, let's give it a little throttle. Let's get ourselves going. And welcome to Atlanta. I hope you guys enjoyed that flight. A little bit more exciting, a little bit different than normal. And it went pretty well. I'll have to practice my landings. That way it doesn't pull to the right so hard. I don't know why it does that. It's always right, too. I don't think I've ever had it pull to the left. All right, we are going to go ahead and cross this runway here, which is runway 8 right. And we'll continue to follow this taxi line right in. We'll pick a gate and we'll pull into that gate. And that will be our flight for today. All right, we'll continue straight here. I believe we're going to branch off to the right up here. And that's where we're going to go into our terminal or our gate. So we'll follow this over to the right here. There we are. We'll slow down just a little bit. And we'll pick one of these gates. We'll do this one right there. We'll go ahead and start a right turn towards it. There we are. We'll follow that right on in. We'll slow down. And we'll go ahead and stop. We'll put our brake on. Go to our overhead panel here. We'll get our taxi lights off so we're not blinding everybody. Make sure our brake actually did set. And it did. So our park and brake is set. Our seatbelt signs, no smoking signs, can come off. APU generator switches can come on, 1 and 2. Our fuel cutoff switches can go down, 2 or 1 and 2. We'll jump down over here. We'll go to menu, FS actions, ground services. We'll add chunks and we'll request our power. And we don't want stairs. We want a jetway. I guess I can't call the jetway yet. What else? Ground power, we got to establish that. So we'll go up here. We have ground. Go ahead and go on our ground power. Our bleed switch can go back to off. Our APU can be turned off. Our packs left and right off. Window heat switches and probe heats can come off. Let's see, emergency lights can go off as well. Fuel pumps off, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yaw damper can go off. Anti-collision lights, position lights, wing lights, anti-collision. We'll leave logo and strobes. And that is our flight. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Welcome to Atlanta. And I will see you guys on the next flight.